Welcome to the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast focused on spirituality, personal development, healing, and transformation to inspire you to live your ultimate potential and an epic life. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Starr, a former medical doctor born into a lineage of Colombian shamans and healers with a mission to reach millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind to co-create heaven on earth. As a spiritual teacher, transformational life coach, shamanic healer, and energy strategist, I am passionate about empowering people to connect to your multidimensional aspects and your creator power to live your highest potential timeline with more ease and grace. Every week, we cover topics in all areas of life, including love, relationships, career, business, mindset, manifestation, esotericism, wellness, and more. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Starr, and today we will be talking about light language. What is light language? Perhaps you've heard of it before, perhaps you have never heard of it before, and the point of this podcast is to really explain it, debunk it. I will share about a new celebration I am celebrating at the moment. And we'll begin there, actually, because that's what inspired this podcast. Is I recently released my first music single, and it is a house music track where I sing my light language vocals in the track. So what that means is it's a melodic, deep house song that I collaborated with my friend Taylor Lawrence, and he's been in the music industry for many years. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool? And this was back in 2020. I thought, wouldn't it be cool for me to share my light language in a bigger way and maybe even create a song with it? And so that's exactly what we did. I was at my first Malibu beach house looking out at the sea. At that time, I was using light language a lot in my women's program. I was using it in the healing and activation workshops I was doing. And it was really a big part of my work at that time. And I said, let's do it. And so I just put on the track, we put on the microphone, and I started to sing. And he recorded the track, the vocals, and then he made a melodic, deep house track, a song, to put the music, so putting the music and the vocals together. And then fast forward to now, I'm living in Ibiza. This week, I actually hosted my first in-person workshop for energy healing and activation in Ibiza. This is June 2023. And that was on June 13th, 2023, that I hosted the workshop. And then on June 14th, 2023, which is yesterday, the single finally dropped. So it's available on all streaming platforms. It's called Raw Remembrance. So a play on the word remembrance. And it is recorded and transmitted in 444 hertz, which is the healing frequency. So there's so much healing on multiple levels of this song. And on top of that, it's just so fun. You can dance to it, you can celebrate to it. And so I'm just so happy to share this with the world. And what I'm finding, like even my mother said, I love it. I love the beat. It's going to be great to dance to and do yoga to, because we like to do our yoga to more deep house type of music. And sometimes I like to do it to spiritual music too, but I also like the beats. It really puts me into an altered state of mind. And she's just like, I just wish I knew what you were saying. And so I laughed when I read that message from her. So the thing about light language is you may not consciously know what is being said with your brain, but your body and your soul knows what's being said. It touches us at a very deep level. So what is light language? So before I even get into these nuances of how to listen to it, what it's actually doing, what is it? So on a basic level, light language is energy translated and converted into sound frequency. So energy is also a frequency. Light is a frequency, and they exist on different spectrums of the frequency spectrum, different wavelengths. So every single color is a different frequency. Every different sound pitch is a different frequency. So what I do is I take the energy healing that I was innately born with, and sometimes I am channeling through specific energies from specific times and places with specific energies and specific intentions. And then I translate it into a frequency that you can hear that comes out of my mouth that is like a song or like a tone or like a sound. Sometimes it's certain types of whistles or airy breaths. Sometimes it's more toning. Sometimes it sounds like another language. And that's the beautiful thing about light language, is it's so unique, diverse, and both I receive it and then channel it through, or sometimes I have an intention that I put into light language. So for example, people who know and love me, I often give crystals as gifts. And what I do is I put into the crystal certain frequencies of light language with certain intentions that will support the person I love that I'm giving this crystal to for their life, for the manifestation of their goals and their desires. Or sometimes it's for love or healing or protection, all different things depending on who it is. Like even when my niece and nephew were born, I encoded light language into crystals that we gridded in their room so that we could support their growth and evolution. And some of them were for protection, and some of them were for love, and some of them were for healing. So it helps me to program the objects. I can also set the energy of a space using light language. We can actually clean spaces with light language. And then when I work with people and I transmit light language, I can help to activate them into their highest potential. I can help to dissolve frequencies that are in the field. It's really a tool that helps people reach their ultimate potential. And just like you have singing bowls, or you have any kind of healing instrument like a crystal, or you use incense or Palo Santo or sage, these are all frequencies to some extent that are helping to shift the energy field of the person. And so light language helps to shift the energy field of a person, of water, of a space, of the air, of an object. And it's really quite cool and unique. And I love hearing others, I feel that more and more people who have ancient memories of light language and codes to share them are awakening to them even more. And in my mentorship programs, people who work with me and train with me and who I then pass on my gifts to, I also activate people so that they can channel light language. And I always let people know that when you are going to hear or receive light language, my invitation to you is to not try to compare it to what you think it sounds like or what it might be. It's best for you to listen with an open mind, and not really with your mind, but with your body. And you see how it moves inside of you and what you feel inside of you. This is the best way to experience light language, because it is shifting you at a cellular level, at a DNA level. Because when we think about frequency and sound, it is shifting the cells around. So any form of light language is healing you and shifting you down to the DNA level. And what I love about it is because you don't know necessarily what it's saying verbatim, because sometimes it might even come out in a tone or in the song of a bird, more like a whistling. Because you don't know with your conscious mind, it's able to work on your unconscious and your subconscious even more, as well as your conscious level. And it works on the body level. So it goes beyond the mind, light language. And that's why I love it so much, because we really get out of our heads and it just has an effect. Just like when you put on a song and it's your favorite song or it's a healing song, you feel differently. And the same is true for light language. The moment you hear it, it can shift how you feel. And more people that I work with realize that, you don't even need plant medicines. The frequencies of light language are so powerful that they can take you on a journey within yourself, through the universe, connect you to your soul, connect you to your divine purpose, connect you to your mission, connect you to the truth of who you are, the all that you are, the expanded version of yourself. So for me, I feel like light language is one of the ultimate activations and healing instruments, and which is why I love using it so much. And even, of course, I love receiving healing. And so often I'm like, who can I find that also does light language? Because it's so specific and so unique and really touches so deeply. And that's my experience of it. So what happened for me was I spontaneous came into my light language in 2013 while I was on a journey, and I was on nature land in upstate New York with friends, and I just felt like I needed to go into a hammock by myself. And I was in this meditative altered state, and I received a very clear download, and I was hearing it. And then when I did, so I will have a podcast about psychedelics, my opinion of them. And at some point in my journey, I did do them, and they helped to open and activate parts of me, but they are no longer, not since 2015, a part of my journey anymore. And when I was in my ayahuasca ceremony for the first time, I was hearing light language. So I was connecting to energies and places and dimensions and even other planets where I was hearing this light language. And so I feel like light language is also the language of the stars. Light language is ancient language. Light language is the element of the nature spirits, the fairies, for example. Light language is the language of the elementals. Light language is ancient language. Sometimes I believe I'm speaking Aramaic, and I'm speaking the languages of the Essene times. I'm speaking the languages of ancient human languages. So for me, light language has been extremely powerful and potent on my journey. It has, unlocked so many codes within myself. And it's very healing. And sometimes it just happens spontaneously, especially when I'm in a place that's very high energy, like certain types of temples or certain types of sacred places. It comes through so strongly because there's so many codes there. And like I said to you, the light language is the translation of energy. So the moment I feel a lot of energy, it starts to come through. And it can come through a lot when I'm hiking or walking in nature because of the nature spirits. So it's really a way that I'm connecting with the environment. And even when I'm working with people, very specific codes come for these people as well. And so what happened in my timeline of awakening to my light language, it was like 2013. I remember that was like 4th of July weekend. I was hearing it. And then later on, my friends went on to tell me that while I was in the hammock, I was speaking it, I was singing it, but I wasn't conscious and aware that I was. And then in July of that year, I did my first ayahuasca ceremony. And there it was so potently heard. And then over that year, I started to speak it, and it started to come through, and I couldn't even control it in some moments. Like it just wanted to come and go. And I feel like because the channel was opening. And then as I began to work with people, the sounds started to come through with the energy work. So it was kind of one and the same. It was almost like tuning up the volume of the energy work by having both the light frequency come through, but then also the vibrational frequency through sound. So it was kind of like a double time energy healing. And then I've lived with it, all these years. And then in 2020, and I always lived with it. It was like a secret in a way. Like only those who signed up to work with me one-to-one knew about it. And then those women who signed up for my Ultimate Woman program knew about it. And then when I started teaching in studios in LA, meditation studios, and then I wouldn't share it in the regular classes, but then when there was either a teacher or facilitator training that I hosted with 2 other facilitators, as part of my portion in helping these people step into their role as healers and facilitators, I activated all of them in light language, which is so beautiful. And many of them loved it even for planting in their garden and such. It was just so beautiful to see them awaken this ancient part of themselves. And then when I was hosting workshops, specifically in my energy healing and activation workshop, which is one of my signature workshops, there is light language in there for everyone. And so it was just such a gift to be able to share that with everyone and to have everyone come into this space of receiving information and codes in this other way. And that's what light language is. It's codes, it's frequencies. And sometimes they're healing, sometimes they're activating, sometimes they're just soothing and nourishing, sometimes they're very joyous. And as I mentioned earlier, I can choose to program. So I know that someone needs some activation, like maybe they're feeling a little down or depressed, or maybe they're not expressing the fullness of their being, and it's time for them to remember more of who they truly are. Boom, I will activate with the light language. Also, I will sometimes just go into the healing frequency. A message will come through, and in the message coming through, I am able to interpret, not like a word for word kind of interpretation, but there is an interpretation happening that I can say, okay, this was connected to healing. This was connected to this shift that can be made, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm able to then share a message at the end of the healing that is specific for that person, that is specific to that channeling that came through. And I use the word channel because I do feel like it is an energy that is coming through me to be expressed. And I also feel that light language, as I mentioned, can come from nature, from earth. It can come from ancient tribes. It can come from ancient languages. It can also come from other planets. It can also come from the person's highest self, my highest self. It can come from different divinities and deities. So there's no limit to the light language. I always set an invocation to protect the space so that only the highest frequencies of divine love and light for the highest and best good of all come through. So it's very protected. It is only love and light. It is only healing. It is only supportive for our greatest becoming. And even today, now I'm feeling more comfortable sharing light language with the world. And the launch of this new music single is part of that. And it's so exciting. And I feel like the sky is the limit. Like I feel like I could see myself in the future being on a stadium in front of people. And just like we go to concerts, it's like this healing experience with the light language. And I'm so excited for that, to bring this light language to the masses. Feels like a coming out of the closet in a way, because it's so mystical and it's so different. You know, when there was a part of myself which was really coming into this work, knowing that the masses maybe weren't quite as ready as they are now. You know, I had the witch wound a little. I had the healer wound a bit, which is, you know, we're persecuted for our gifts, especially if they're quite different. And so now that confidence is there, also because the benefits are undeniable. After working with thousands of people, I see the benefits, and so it can't be denied. And it's incredible to witness people, like the reactions and the experiences that are had and the changes that come through light language. And it's just such a joy and honor to share it. And so I also felt like it would be beautiful. So in the show notes, you will see the link to listen to the light language song. And if you ever want your own personal, whether it's an intro session or whether you do my women's program or whatever it may be, or you come to one of my in-person workshops, then you will experience that. And also in my retreats, I offer them. And so if you ever come to any of my experiences, you will experience it. But I did feel like sending out a blessing of sorts would be a beautiful way to share light language with you, especially if this is the first time you're hearing it. And again, before I transmit this, I really ask you to listen with an open heart, an open mind, an open body, and clear the mind. No comparison, no trying to figure it out, and more of a listen with your body. See what it moves inside of you. How does it feel inside of you? And my intention for this light language transmission I'm about to share is May you blossom into your ultimate potential for the highest and best good of all. May you walk the path of your destiny with even more ease and grace. May you feel the love that you are, the freedom that is here for you, all the abundance that is here for you now and forevermore. And so it is. And you can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just listen, receive. Lahantiliatru simternai, rarasiliatrum nirari liatru sulianternai. Neveton coleatri alotum nare liatasilatrum nenai laratialiatrum nieranacilia. Nevetam ternai calateliatrella suliamternai ralasiliatru siliamtri. Nevetare lianunam nanaira. No, I'm sending you so much love, so many blessings. Thank you for receiving this blessing, this transmission. Allow yourself to receive all the goodness that is destined for you. Thank you for being here. Listen to the track and tune in for more light language as I begin to share it more and more through the podcast, through there'll be some other things that you can tune into that are in addition to the podcast. And we'll see what other songs and tracks will be made and what other programs. Oh yeah, also all of my ascension codes have light language with all different intentions like surrender, acceptance, love, the lovers, illumination, divinity, awaken, sovereignty. So there's 13 ascension codes. So all of those for healing and activation have light language. So there's so many ways to tap into this light language even more. And so with that, I send you so much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the ascension path, opening your mind and your heart to more of who you are. Big kiss, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and tune in every Friday for a new episode. Spread the love and share this episode with someone who may benefit. So much love to you, and remember who you are.